Hey everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Today's beer, before I go on, I do appreciate you spending a little time checking out the beer. Today's beer is from Cigar City. This is their Oatmeal Raisin Cookie Brown Ale. Not a big beer, guys, 5.5%. Probably not something I would buy for myself because I don't buy beers of this low of ABV. Easy for me to say, huh? ABV. I do get some of their stuff here. Some of their stuff now is done in North Carolina by Oscar Blues Brewing. So we're getting stuff that is brewed there, not actually coming out of Tampa where Cigar City is at, but it seems like they're doing pretty good things with what they're putting out of the Oscar Blues brewery down there in North Carolina. I'm not seeing this particular one. Like I said, it's a very low ABV at 5.5%. I usually don't buy these beers, guys. It's that low of an ABV. I'm not looking for a session beer. I'm not looking for something to drink for breakfast or anything. I want my beers at least 7% or above. That's just me. That's just my opinion. A lot of people like these lower ABV beers where they can drink 4, 5, 6 or more and not be too inebriated. I don't session beers anymore, guys. I don't drink them to get the buzz, but I do like a nice full-bodied beer. That's why I like the 7%ers and up. So let's get on with this one. 5.5%, and Untapped has it at 25 IBUs. And usually Cigar City dates their stuff, and this one says canned on March the 3rd of 2018, and today is the 26th of May, so not quite 2 months old. We're getting close, about 7 weeks or so old on this one. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to taste some of this oatmeal and the raisins. I don't know if they actually used any raisins in the brewing or not. I don't have that information. And for the oatmeal, they could throw some flaked oats in there to get a little creamier mouthfeel and stuff. So you might get some of that oat taste there. So let's find out what this beer is all about. This comes to me from Brandon C. down in Texas. So thanks a bunch, Brandon. He writes on this oatmeal raisin cookie, and he traded for this beer. And like I said earlier on an earlier beer review, guys, hope he got more than one, and he didn't send the only one that he got and traded for to me. So Brandon, I hope you got at least one for yourself there, brother. All right. I don't have a commercial description here on Untapped, so I guess it's time. So let's pop the top on this bad boy and get it into the glass and see what we got. Dark brown coming out. While I'm pouring this, guys, I'll tell you the cheese, the earthy Camembert Fontina, your nutty cheeses, Asiago, Colby, Parmesan, meat, pork, grilled meat. Glass bar to pint, Beckernomic, tumbler mugs, Stein or Seidel. Not recommended for extended cellaring, so we pour that kind of easy. So let's kick it up a notch on the back end there and see if we can get any head. It's not generating a whole lot. A little bit of creaminess on the outside, but it's just barely covering the beer on the inside here, guys. Pretty dark looking beer. Over into the light, I am getting some red ruby tinges around the bottom of the glass. Looks a lot like a brown ale or a porter, if you will. Let's get it to the nose. Roasted malt. I'm giving some hints of some oats or oatmeal. Caramel, toffee. Not a lot of raisins on the nose, but those may come out as it warms up. Let me spin this around so you can see the front of the beer here, if I can find it. Maybe those raisins and maybe even some darker fruit there, plums, dates, figs will come out once it warms up, and that's what we're going to do. It smells pretty good. It smells very typical for a brown ale. I don't buy a lot of brown ales, guys. They just don't have enough taste for this, guys, usually. Well, let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Brandon. A little bit of cinnamon, oatmeal, a little bit of raisins in there. It's like basically it's like a oatmeal raisin cookie, guys. A little on the thin side for 5.5%. Now that I'm putting my nose to it, I can smell the cinnamon now. It's probably going to open up a little bit more as it warms up to room temperature. This style of beer, usually you serve at 55 to 70 degrees, somewhere in that area. And it's a little bit colder than that right now. Very tasty beer. Just a little on the thin side, and that's very typical for 5.5% in this style. So let me let it warm up a little bit, let her taste it, and we'll come back and see where she ends up. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. I've been stepping on for about 30 minutes. Decent beer, guys. It is. It's not blowing my hair back or my socks off or anything. And usually these low ABV beers don't do a whole lot for me. They're tasty. Probably a good breakfast beer if you wanted to drink it on Saturday or Sunday if you didn't have to go to work. Kind of thin, kind of watery, and this style of beer usually is in this ABV format. I am getting the raisins, I am getting cinnamon, I am getting a little bit of oatmeal, not a lot. I would think this would be a really good beer in a 7, 8, 9% version, depending on how much oatmeal or flaked oats they put in this beer. But a good transitional beer, if you will. Something to get you into this style if you've never had it before, not too big of an ABV, and something with a little bit of taste with the oatmeal and the raisins. Not getting a whole lot more dark fruit than the raisins. Decent beer. That's where I want to put this, guys. It's a decent beer. Like I said earlier, probably not something I would purchase for myself, being in the 5.5%. So, but glad I got to try it. So Brandon, thanks very much for sending it to me. I can say now that I've had it. Final chug. Well-made beer, guys. No doubt about it. I'm not getting any of the alcohol at 5.5%. But not quite enough taste for this guy. A lot of people out there would probably love this beer, think it's outstanding. To me, like I said, kind of transitional. Not something that I would probably purchase for myself. But a decent beer. To me, guys, B+. That's where I'm going to put this beer. A little too thin and watery for me, and a little bit too low on the ABV. Usually the bigger beers, once you get to the 7% and the bigger beers, they have a little bit more body to them than these low ABV beers do. So, but I enjoyed it. It was a tasty beer. Let's jump over to Beer Advocate and see what they say. I said, since it's got the date on it and got the ABV on the can, I'm going to give it a B, like I said, a B+ for me, 88. That's where I'm going to put this one, guys. Over to Beer Advocate, they say 4.12 out of 5, exceptional. So somebody there is enjoying this beer. It is a well-made beer. And I may be giving a little low score there because I'm not a big fan of these lower ABV session beers, if you will. These 5.5 and lower beers, I consider them session beers. You could have 2, 3, 4, even a 6-pack of these, depending on what you're accustomed to drinking, and not be too inebriated. Probably have a buzz if you drank 6 of these, but it ain't like drinking 6 10%ers, that's for sure. So, over to Untappd for our final check-in. They have it at 3.98. That's also, to me, in their B plus range. Kicking the door down on to be an A minus beer. And if you say, oh my God, that's an A minus, it's an A beer, or even if it's a 10 beer in your category. Beer tastes are very subjective, guys. What you may love, I may hate, and vice versa. If you think this is a 10 beer, I wouldn't argue with that. Just doesn't do it for this guy. I like a little bit more taste with the bigger beers. So, with that being said, if you've had this one from Cigar City, their Oatmeal Raisin Cookie Brown Ale, let me know what you think. Until we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.